The November Soap Club Challenge is a teardrop pour. So I've never actually done this technique before, so I figured I should give it a go. It's not really a design that inspires me, but I was gonna try it. So the basic concept is you're gonna pour like approximately a third of your batter into your mold. Then you're gonna take contrasting colors and you're just gonna pour almost like a tiger swirl. Just pour layer on top of layer on top of layer. And eventually they're just gonna flatten out. Then once you've poured your colors, you're gonna take the rest of your batter and at the same time pour it down both sides. And what that should do is as you're pouring it in, it should push up that tiger swirl, which will give you a teardrop effect. Now, you all know me, and I don't do anything just at face value half the time. So what appealed to me was trying an ombre for the base and pouring it. I have no idea if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do black to dark green and then pour my teardrop in light colors. No idea if it'll work, but I'm gonna try it and we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is a 2.5 pound batch and I split my ratio 30 ounces for the main batch and 10 ounces for the color, the teardrop. That's roughly 25% split, which is probably more than I need. I probably should have done just a little bit less, but we're going with it. So I'm gonna start by, technically you should pour a third of your base. I'm pouring, oh no, that's maybe half an inch in this mold, if that. Second, they say use squeeze bottles. I just don't want to use squeeze bottles. One, I'd have to go find them and pull them out. Two, we all know how much I love squeeze bottles. So I'm just going to try this with piping bags. I'm just going to cut a little tip and try it that way. See if it works. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it doesn't. So it's like I'm just not going to get too hyper over it. I'm just going to try it and see. I think I should have enough control that it should work. So as you can see, I did twice as much white to my color. So I have light green, because I'm going to be ombreing to those, white, and a dark gray. So I'm basically going to do white color, white color, white color, and just kind of pour like that. See if it works. Like I said, the worst that happens is it doesn't work and I end up with something interesting that's not a teardrop. So you do want your batter to remain fluid, and when you pour, a tip was to start with it going down the wall and then just slowly drizzle, and then I have to stop. I also had this crazy idea, which I don't know if it will actually work. Just to add a little bit of sparkle between each layer. I don't know if I can control it enough to get it just on the color. I might have to do it further as I get more color. But I'm gonna try. Okay, so I'm just gonna speed this up. I'm gonna keep going back and forth, and just gonna take a number of layers to do this, and then I will come back and explain the ombre process. So, enjoy! So when I was pouring this, I didn't think it worked very well. Looking at the sides or the ends, I'm still not convinced it worked very well, but we'll see what the cut gives. My soap was a little too thick. I don't think it was really too thick. It just, it was very runny, but it was like just building up and not kind of settling down. So I don't know. Let's see. Oh my word. Yeah, I just took a sneak peek and yeah, this is not what I was going for. Oh my gosh. It looks like, I don't know if I should say this. It looks like Slimer from the Ghostbusters. Does it not? Like the big blobby bottom and his face and head. I made Slimer in multiple striped colors. Oh my gosh, that is kind of hilarious. That one just looks like a blob. Yeah, so we can say this just didn't go as planned. I don't have words. I don't have words. Well, I am, oh my gosh. Like I said, I have another one I'm gonna try that is the winners category requirements with a frame around it. And I'm not gonna try and gradient it, and I will use squeeze bottles because I'm doing that one in a tall and skinny mold. And yeah, I'm gonna need the bottles. It's just gonna be too hard to control without it. Oh my. That is interesting. Some of these look like Slimer. Some of these look like a blob. Some of these, that could be your poop emoji. You win some, you lose some. At least it smells good. Yeah. I should not be making soap right now. I am so tired. I am working 12 hours a day pretty much trying to get stuff ready for weekend events. And of course I have weekday events also starting up next week that I'm just a little crazy right now. So yeah, I made Slimer. Let me know what you think. I hope you got as much amusement out of this as I did. But this is not a successful teardrop. If you were going to try in the teardrop, don't do what I did. So the winners category, you had to create a border around your soap. And the idea kind of fascinated me. And so I decided to try a second batch with a border for my bonus entry. What I did was, I'm doing it in the tall and skinny mold, and I created just a black to dark blue to blue ombre, and I'm gonna cut, like I cleaned off the top just to flatten it, and I'm gonna cut the bottom and the top, and then 2 sides and put it in there. So hopefully you have like an ombre box around it. So that's all I'm doing now, is I've just set this up so that I can slice the pieces I need. So that's the bottom. Which it's hard to see, but there is an ombre. It's very subtle, but the ombre isn't in each individual piece. It's in hopefully the whole border as it goes. So this piece is going to go on the bottom. Should just fit right back in there. And then I'm going to cut the top. So too much stuff on the table here. So I'm gonna flip this over and cut off the top piece now, and then I'll cut the sides. That's the top piece. I'm going to set that aside. So that's going to go in that side. I will come back and put that in better. And now I'm just going to flip it. Trim the other side. Look at that. So this should go in here. That one pushes in there. And then the top will go on after I poured everything. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of water . I should pour the inside teardrop and then I'll slide that on top. And we'll see what I get. Okay, so I learned a few things from my first batch. First off, you really want to make sure you pour 1/3 of your soap into the mold. I am eyeballing it, but I only poured 1/4 last time. I also think it's partly because I used a regular mold and I had issues. The soap just sank to the bottom. So I'm trying obviously this one with the tall and skinny because I think it will work better. I also pulled out the squeeze bottles because it's a tall and skinny. I can't get my hand in there. And I went back and forth with what colors to do the teardrop in. And I finally just settled on blue and black, which is what my ombre is for the box around the outside of the soap. It's not going to give a lot of contrast, but I'm going to do obviously the white around it. The soap around it is white. But I think that's what's going to work best and make this cohesive. So that's what I'm doing. One other thing I realized too, my first design, is I had too much color, I think. Like I just poured too much in. And I split this up a little bit too much, but I'm actually going to be using the leftover color for something else, so I'm not really worried about having too much color. So yeah, it was interesting. I created a Slimer soap. That's what it looked like to me. So what I also discovered was that my first batch, it just kind of sunk and it didn't spread out. And this doesn't seem to be really spreading out either. So I don't know if that's a good omen or a bad omen. I don't know. But as you can see, I did pull out the squeeze bottles. And I'm just going back and forth. And yes, the squeeze bottles make this so much easier. I just don't like squeeze bottles. I thought about lining my squeeze bottles with my plastic bags, but I didn't bother. Like, I was afraid that it would cause problems with time and getting this in, and as this with the tall and skinny mold, so I was like, eh. So I'm just kind of filling this, and the sides are pushing out, and I think I'll probably stop in a minute and then start pouring. And hope that it pushes up. I don't know. So okay. I don't know. That's good. I am of that mentality where it's good enough. I also feel like this white batter is setting up a little bit, so I just want to pour. Okay. So I am also going to pour together this time and hope that I'm consistent. Well, that was not very consistent. Oh my. That's okay. Okay, so I need it. This is not obviously filling the entire mold. I need just a little bit more before I put my top piece on to cover it all up. So I think that is pretty level with the top, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this piece on. Hope that this works, because this has been I made these 2 days ago, so it's been sitting out. I did not, with show season, I was not able to get the soap made yesterday. And I'm really hoping that I've filled it enough that there isn't any gaps. Yeah. So I will come back and cut this tomorrow. I think this one was a little bit more successful just from pouring it. The sides did seem to be coming up. So fingers crossed. There you have it. This end looks slightly more promising than the first version. So let's cut it and see what I got. Well, you know, it could have been worse. This had warped because, again, it had been sitting out for 2 days before I finally got to make the soap. So yeah, you've got a little bit, but I think the outline with the gradient is actually really cool looking. Okay, from this to this, it's actually cool. Like, I have to say, I'm kind of pleased with this, even if the teardrop isn't 100% teardrop perfect. That's okay. Oh my gosh. So I'm pretty sure this is the result of uneven pouring down both sides. Let's see. Okay, can I say I really like the box. The ombre just, it's so cool. Like, who cares about the teardrop? I just love the box. Like, it came out cooler than I thought the gradient would for the box. Like, I was just basically experimenting. I did not know what I would get, if it would even work. Most definitely not a stellar teardrop. But I'm okay because I still like the soap. And it's because of the border. The border is cool. I wish I had gotten to make this soap right after I cut the pieces so that it didn't have that warp. And there's nothing I can do about that. This is my busy time and just I had to get other things done, and this is for fun, so the challenge had to take a back seat to work. What it is. So this will be my bonus entry. I will not have a regular entry because I'm not going to have time to get to something else. Like, I just have way too much work to get done. But I'm happy I tried it. And I think that even if my teardrop was less than stellar, the soap itself is still really cool. Does that not look like a witch hat? Okay. I feel like I redeemed myself after my first one, after Slimer. And like I said, this gradient is just, I love it. Now I want to try this again, but minus like something different inside. Just the concept of it. But the problem is that I had so much left over from after making these. Still, that's cool. Let me know what you think.